Hello and welcome once again to Dell's Ducks this week. This week we've taken our act on the road. We're at Monks at the Wilderness, and one of our best sponsors this year, joined once again by head coach Bill Zamboni. Welcome, Bill.
Thanks, Jimmy.
And the Sullivan brothers, Mike and Joey from North Royalton, Ohio. Mike is a returning veteran on the Ducks. Joey is a rookie this season, and both had a breakout weekend against the Minnesota Owls. Big things for both of you, really, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Had to feel pretty good to be putting a puck in the net like that.
Yeah, it didn't like that.
So we'll start with the weekend series. Three lopsided wins in favor of the Dallas Ducks. I believe the first one was 6-1, if I'm not mistaken. 14-0. Goose egg for
Jared Young.
Jared Young. That's right. Younger got the goose egg on Saturday night, and then 11-1 in the finale. So a big breakout weekend for almost everybody, and especially Mike Sullivan, who was such a big scorer for the team last year. He just picked up where he left off, right, Mike?
Yeah.
Is it something that you thought about over the summer a lot, or did you find you were just in the right place at the right time a lot this weekend?
I think a little bit of both. I mean, I worked on my shot a lot over the summer because I had a pretty soft shot last year. I got to watch some pretty incredible players last year. I'm excited. I don't know. It gives me a little more confidence. I feel like I got a couple tricks up my sleeve. So
Okay.
these are nice. So.
And Joey made your presence felt in a big way, in particular Saturday night with the hat trick. I'm not sure how many goals you scored in total on the weekend, but it was a lot. And like I said, it's a big one on Saturday, first star with 3 goals in it. It feels pretty good.
Yeah, it felt really good. That was awesome. Just having everyone there, all that was sweet.
Okay. All things considered, you didn't really know what to expect, I don't think, Coach, because it's the first series of the year. The Owls were one of the weaker teams a year ago, and they're short on numbers right now. Things could change a lot over the course of the season. But the big thing for me was that you really got that scoring touch that you've been expecting for weeks. That you always knew it was there, and finally the team started to find the net this weekend.
I think guys have started to get comfortable within the systems and understand where they, what our identity was and kind of what roles they needed to play. I thought we were extremely disciplined over the weekend, and that helps out huge. I know on Saturday night our power play was at 57%. So it always helps to get the odd man and kind of add it on the board. So I think our guys did a good job kind of in all 3 zones. We definitely had mistakes, and there were good mistakes. There's stuff that we can control and work on to get better. And we have a really good core right now, guys, that are, it's still a process of the buying in, but you can see it every day, more and more. Guys are having fun. They're enjoying each other's time, and that is the biggest thing right now, to get these guys on the same page and just love being with each other. And that, when that comes, the harder they work for each other on the ice and practice, and then it just carries over to games. And hopefully we'll have some enjoying times right now as we hit the road for a while, and guys can really start bonding.
Yeah, and one of the things that a lot of times you'll find is once you get that chemistry on the line. But this weekend was a little bit different because the team actually did get a little bit nicked up, and you actually did have to do some pretty hefty juggling. Guys were with different players, almost every game throughout the weekend, and it didn't really matter.
No, I mean, like I think guys are buying in, and that's a good thing. We had a lot of forwards playing B, and Mike hopped up and played forward on Saturday night. For actually a lot of the game. It's good right now to get guys moving around, and that way they understand, right? Like they understand every position, the forward routes on what we're doing in a neutral zone. They see things from a different perspective, and that they respect their teammates a little bit more for going out and doing some dirty work. And it's a good feeling to be able to do that right away, and we'll just see where it takes us.
Okay. 2 goals against in 3 games is also nothing to sneeze at. Obviously, those are some great stats. And once again, it looks like the team is going to have some standout goaltending this year. It seems to be kind of the team's calling card every year is that they have some, you know, really solid goaltending. But this weekend, the shutouts were really a team effort. They belong to everybody because you limited the Owls to very few chances, very few shots, and very few really decent scoring chances. And that's something that belongs to the whole team, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely, yeah. I mean, so 2 goals against is, and I tell our goalies this, but to me, like, goals against is a team stat. You know,
Okay.
it takes everyone, and, you know, I thought, you know, that's when you gotta block shots and you gotta pick up guys on the back check and stuff, so it was a good team effort all around from every guy that was in the lineup. And guys did a good job of filling holes where we needed to as the week went on and the weekend went on, and, yeah, I mean, our goalies made saves when they had to, I thought, but, you know, we wore them down. I think that was the biggest thing over the course of the weekend. And our guys did a good job, like I said, of staying disciplined within the system, and, you know, we just kept trying to get better. That's all we kept talking about on the bench, and guys were, you know, it was amazing to see our veterans talk to first-year guys when they came off, and, you know, hey, like, great job on this, well, we gotta do this a little bit better, and it wasn't you, it was we have to do this better, and that's, like, to me, like, I hear that stuff, and I know things are turning in the right direction, so, there was a ton of positives that way for me.
Now, Mike, obviously as a defenseman, that's something that you think a lot about, is looking after your own end. And that's something that you were probably most noted for last year. Obviously this weekend, you had the offensive explosion, but the first job is in your end, and it looked like, I mean, you're a little bit short-staffed on the blue line, but there was a lot of people helping out, wasn't there?
Yeah. I mean, even with the guys jumping back, it kind of just showed everyone's a number. And I don't know. I think every guy played their role well. You know, we made mistakes, but I mean, that's what the veteran guys are there for. To help them out. I don't know. I think all the rookies did really well this weekend. Excited for the next couple of games.
One of the other things that I noticed with the Ducks, and this goes back to, you know, other years as well, is, you know, the team's ability to transition and really turn a defensive play into offense almost immediately, like a stop and a long pass, and you're on the offensive zone again. That's something you guys work a lot on in practice too?
Yeah, I mean, we've got a couple different plays with different routes, like the hinge we got running. We run that a lot in practice, and it's a matter of just guys like paying attention to details and picking your head up and doing it as quick as possible. Matter of timing too. So.
And Joey, you feel like as a forward, you know, when the play's going the other way, you guys all are getting back pretty quick. I think that it's really a team effort, like Coach said, isn't it?
Yeah, I think so too. I don't know, we were a little slow at times getting back to help the defensemen because we always wanted to score. Like, we just had that mentality, but something we could fix that easily. We just gotta get back and help.
Now, for you, Joey, you played AAA hockey last year, am I right?
Yeah.
And you played in the Cleveland area.
Yeah.
So what was the biggest adjustment, like as far as moving up to the junior level? What's the biggest thing you found, like in the preseason now in the first series? Was there anything that's been hard to handle or that's been surprising for you at all?
Everyone's just a lot bigger, faster, and stronger. And you just gotta make plays like fast. You don't have as much time as you did in that league last year. Like everyone's good. And it's hard.
Okay. Coach, he sure looked comfortable though, didn't he?
Yeah, no, I you know what, he's really taken a lot of steps forward as he got here since day one. You know, he seems comfortable with the puck on his stick right now, and, you know, that's a confidence thing, and that's, you know, we've been talking about with our guys. Is, you know, we had a tough preseason, that's for sure. And, you know, the week before our opening weekend, we really started, I don't know what it was, but guys just became confident. You know, I think it's just around the locker room having fun, keeping it loose, and but we were moving, and, you know, we had a good feeling, I think, going into Friday, and then once we got it out of our system, I think guys just kind of knew, like, okay, this is what we need to do every day. And you know, even today's practice I thought was really good. And you know, we started the gym at 6 this morning, so it's been a long day for these guys, and you know, they have to understand that's what it's gonna take, and we're gonna go the same route that we did last year, hopefully. We need to make sure we're ready for it.
Now you do a lot of time preparing for every game that you play, whether you're scouting or just going over your lines and everything.
Yep.
Was there anything at all from this weekend series that jumped out as a surprise, either good or bad, about either team this weekend?
Well, I think there's a ton that jumped out, positives and negatives for each side. I think I thought we created offense from a lot of different areas this weekend. From my standpoint, I thought, as we were deep, we showed that we could be very deep. A lot of guys got points, and that's a good sign. Because if your top end guys aren't doing it one night, the other guys they know that they're capable, and that's a huge advantage for us. I thought the productivity with puck movement and stuff like that on our special teams and power play was starting to get better. It's a little cleaner, it's crisper, and guys are communicating a lot more. And so, for that, it's great, I negatively, I go back to kind of what Joey was talking about, maybe getting too comfortable and, trying to take more risks than they needed to in those type of games. And, but, guys were asking questions when they came off and made mistakes. And, there was never, no one pointing a finger. It was just a great weekend for us all around. I think mentally and physically to get that one out of the way and build. And, like I said, hopefully it just continues to grow and these players continue to develop and get better and have a long season ahead of them.
One of the things that I thought at the end of the weekend, Mike, was, when you're heading into a new season, especially as successful as the team was last year, there tends to be a lot of stories and talk about how great things were last year and stuff like that. And I think in the early games, the returning players have been the key guys. But in particular, Saturday night, I really thought this became the 2014-15 team. Like, this is the new Ducks now. All the new players, they all contributed. It's funny because the guy who led the league in scoring last year didn't get a point, or he didn't get a goal. I think he did get some points. He didn't get a goal, and he scored 14. So it just goes to show that this is a new team now, and obviously Woody's going to score a lot of points for you this year. But it's just so deep, and the new team has finally arrived, I think.
Yeah, I think it was just good. I think the guys last year set a really good example. But I think some of the hardest things was probably letting go of some of those guys from last year.
Yeah.
But all you can do is take, notes from them and what they did, what you liked that they did, and transfer it to the new guys on the team. So, I'm just impressed. So.
Now we're looking ahead at least 17 straight road games. I think there might even be a couple other exhibitions thrown in there as well. But we have a 17-game stretch as far as league games go on the road. It's something that this team actually kind of likes to do. It gives you all the home games down the stretch. Not that these games aren't important, and it's looked at as a way for bonding, to get away and stuff like that. A lot of teams like the road trips early to get away and for guys to kind of get used to each other. In the case of this team, I think they're already pretty tight, but you are definitely ready to hit the road, Coach.
Yeah, I think it's good. It puts some pressure on us to get out of our comfort zone where we've been, at our home ice, and guys get to experience different arenas and how we work on the road, and they're going to have to adapt, and it'll be interesting to see what happens. We're going to go into some hostile environments maybe this weekend, and we're going to go into maybe some non-existing environments where we have to create some energy on our own. So, it's great to be on the bus and be in the hotels and having guys with each other every day, every minute, and I think that will be fun for us. I think from the group that I've seen so far, I think they're pretty lighthearted, where they want to have fun, they care about each other. So it should be a good trip on that aspect, and you got to win on the road. Guys you know, a lot of our guys came here because of what we did last year. Well, what we did last year is over, and that team is no longer here. So, you know, to get back there, it's tough. I mean, that wasn't easy what we did last year. It's not easy what the Northern Lights did in the years prior to that. You know, to replicate something like that is extremely tough, and you have to pay a price to do it. And you know, winning on the road and tough situations when you're tired and you know you got bus legs. It's, you know, we'll see what kind of men we have.
So the weekend starts on Friday night in Maple Grove.
Yeah.
That's a team that battled the Ducks for first place most of last year. Find themselves sitting 0-2 right now, so that's going to be a bit of a wounded lion that you're going to be going in against. And then you run into the Owls on Saturday, their home opener, which is always a huge game with a packed house. Not the friendliest fans in the world, and definitely a team that probably figures they have a score to settle. And then you wrap it all up in Hudson against a very solid team. You know, a team that, you know, personally is scary to me because they have so many returning players. So like you said, no easy games this weekend. And I guess the way, you know, it's kind of a cliche, but you kind of got to go one game at a time and just get through them, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you know, we're going to Maple Grove. They got an Olympic sheet.
Yeah.
You know, there's a lot of different variables that are going to happen, and you know, like you said, we go into Isanti, and you know, if they get 3,000 people there, it's going to be, you know, we'll see how guys react, and then we're going to go into Hudson, and you know, we're going to play arguably one of the best teams in our league on Sunday in our 3rd and 3, and you know, we're going to see what we're made out of. And I know that they had one of, you know, their top guys suspended last game and they lost in overtime. He will be back, you know, when we play them on Sunday. So it's going to be exciting. It'll be fun. You know, I think each team right now is still in the feeling out process of themselves. And, you know, that stuff you just got to battle through and see who's going to want it more.
Mike, you know, just as we're talking now, I'm thinking to myself, you know, you're going to go from Maple Grove, which, as the coach mentioned, is Olympic-sized ice, just tons of room, acres of ice out there, and then follow it up by going to the Isanti, which is basically a phone booth. So,
Yeah.
I mean, that's kind of a real challenge, not a phone booth, but it's a very tight rink, and you know, probably the smallest rink in the league. So. Some pretty drastic changes. Is that something that's difficult to prepare for?
Yeah. Last year, I would say Maple Grove was really tough to adjust to. It was just like definitely more skating, obviously, but it was just tougher because you had to adapt and learn how to defend their power play or their new systems and the way they work the puck. You know, you gotta leave them outside, you know, most of the time, and defend the middle more. But when you get onto a regular sheet, we can get back into our systems really. But yeah, I think that plays a huge factor, and I think it'll be interesting to see how the new guys respond to it.
And as we've talked about before, the team, because of its past success, tends to have a bit of a target on its back. You know, you're always going to get every team's best effort. Like we already talked about Maple Grove, I know the Owls, two teams that are going to really want to show something against the Dells Ducks. And then it's probably the most unfriendly place for the Ducks, a venue that you had 2 losses and I believe an overtime win last year, am I right?
Yeah.
So a really tough part to play at. Maybe something where there's a target on their back for you guys. You guys have a score to settle there, but it'll be you know, a little bit of a fatigue setting in at that point.
Yeah, I think it's always fun playing in those environments, and I think it's fun when any team gives you, you know, their best effort. Come on, like you got something to prove to you. So yeah, I think that's the most fun part about the game. So I'm excited for that.
Joey, you seem like you would really like the wide open ice that you're going to be going to a Maple Grove. Have you played on Olympic-sized ice before?
I haven't, no. Not that actually back in Cleveland, when we played at our home rink, Cleveland Heights. We didn't play too many games there because like all the teams were out in like Minnesota and that in our league. That's where all the showcases were. But when we did, that was an Olympic rink, and I loved it because I love to skate with the puck. And, I'm more of a faster skater, I feel. Like
Yeah. You definitely get room to dangle, then you follow that up the next thing where you're going to get hit a lot.
That's fine.
Okay, so that will be definitely a tough start to the road trip, and it's going to be a long one. But for local fans, you still have a chance to watch the Ducks on a regular basis, thanks to Monks at the Wilderness, where we're sitting right now. At least this coming weekend, I understand they're going to put all 3 games on. The Friday game is, I think, 7:30. I know the Saturday game is 7:30, and then the Sunday game is 7. I'm not 100% sure on the Friday
I think
game.
Friday's at 7 too.
Okay, 7 o'clock Friday and Sunday, 7:30 on Saturday.
Yeah.
All 3 games will be on the televisions here at Monks in some form. Talk about them a little bit, Coach, because they've really come on as a huge sponsor this year. And, you gotta be so thankful to have them on board.
Oh, yeah, no, I mean, we're very thankful to have all of our sponsors on board, and, Monks has really hopped on board this year as a big-time sponsor for us, and, they've been great to our guys off of the ice, on the ice. They're willing to help out at the rink. They want us to be successful. We're starting to become the community's team, which is the goal, I think, of any junior hockey team. And, it's great to see the support. And Allison, that I've been working with here at Monks, and Ben, and they've just been fantastic. And, hopefully it's a great partnership. I know they televised all the games down here last year at the national tournament, and they had a pretty good showing for all of the games. So it's nice if we keep that fan base that we have here at the rink. There's this great spot for them to come and hang out here at the Monks at the Wilderness, and it keeps them interested. It keeps them up to date on how the Ducks are doing without having to take time out of their work day to check on online or Facebook or on their Twitter. So it's great. I think it's awesome how they've really wanted to jump on board, and it's we're ecstatic about it as an organization from the business side of it, and hopefully we keep everything rolling in the right direction.
And not only that, they had some pretty darn good food. After the game, I think it was Friday night, we came over here, Coach and I, and a couple others, and we found out our whole team was here just about with their parents. It was parents' weekend, and almost everybody was here enjoying the great food at Monks. So I highly recommend you come down and try some of their food and check out the Ducks this weekend. And I'm pretty sure future weekends, I will have to go week by week and let you know on that. And so keep watching the Ducks. And before you know it, it'll be November, and they'll be back home again for a long time.
Yeah.
So that'll hopefully with a nice record under their belt by then too. So, Coach, I really want to thank you for joining us here tonight at Monks.
Yeah, no, thank you for having me. I'd like to say thanks for all the parents that came, and even the parents that couldn't make it this weekend. It's always great to have their support, and I know the guys really appreciate it. So.
Yeah, good point. And Mike and Joey, continued success. Hopefully this first weekend was just a sign of things to come, and we'll be seeing your name on top of the leaderboards before the season's over. Good luck, and I hope everything goes great for you. We'll be back next week with talking about this series coming up, and then another one that's going to see the team visit the UP for the first time the following weekend. So thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next week.